Hey guys, it's Mike with another Gilded Guardians video. Today we have a champion highlight of Tallah. So we got her dialed in at level 100, got her overall power ranking up to 611, which is right where we want to be, between 600 and 650. Ideally, as I get my gear better, we'll be able to be more consistent with that. But we did get her in a full outset. 3 of her pieces are tier 6, 1 piece is tier 5, and she does have extra attack coming from Dariza's crossbow. Which has been fairly consistent with all the champions that we've done so far. So let's take a quick peek at her skill set. Her ultimate ability is Incinerate, and it is an AoE ability. She summons a fire dragon that flies forward and attacks enemies for 170% of attack as magic damage and causing stun for 2 seconds. So this is actually kind of similar to Tuskrog's ability with the Pack of Wolves. With that stun for 2 seconds, and then the damage here with the level we're on is actually at 240%. But this is magic damage as opposed to physical damage, so she could be somebody that you could bring in when you're getting reflection of physical damage, and then she would be able to not be affected by that. Her second ability is True Fire. Attack nearby enemies 3 times, dealing 90% of attack as magic damage. Each attack has 30% chance to cause burn, dealing 50% of attack as magic damage every 2 seconds for 8 seconds. So they're going to receive 4 additional ticks of 50% of her attack as damage. So we do want to get her attack up, and that'll help that tick away a little more damage. And then her passive is Scorch. Deal 20% increased basic attack damage to burning enemies. So it's just going to increase her overall damage she's doing to enemies that have that burn on her that she's burn on them that she's putting on from True Fire. So her kit actually looks pretty good. She's got 2 AoE abilities plus additional damage for enemies that are under fire. I have actually never played with Tallah, so I'm very excited to give her a shot. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the Great Forge, into that first challenge that we've been doing consistently, and give her a opportunity to shine. So we'll get her going and see what she does. Alright, so we are into that first room. We're going to hit go. We're going to turn it off 2 times so it'll slow it down a little bit so we can see how she's doing. She also does not have any healing in her kit, so all the damage she's taking is going to be there. So she's hoping to make it through these 3 rooms. Looks like she does some pretty good damage herself when that AoE ability kicked in. She did take a couple stuns there, but she definitely was able to clear that room relatively easily. We don't want to we'll take less damage from burning. This is affecting magic damage, and then the other one was stuns, so we're probably going to take a little bit less, or we're going to give a little bit less damage because her damage is magic. But let's give this another shot and see if we can take a peek. I thought here we go, she's going to summon this. So that is the dragon she summoned. She got the 2 seconds of stun on all the enemies. So I feel like to a certain extent she's kind of a poor man's Tuskrog. If you have not pulled a Tuskrog yet, you do get her guaranteed after 14 days. She's the login champ every 7 days. But your first 7 you get Grizel. And that AoE stun ability is very effective at crowd control while she's doing damage at the same time. So we're going to roll through the merchant. We're not going to buy anything because we can't consistently do that with all of the players that we put through here. So we're just going to come in and out. Oh, Spiderweb was in there too. That's one of my favorites. So we're going to go ahead and press on to the 5th and final room here. But overall, I'm actually really impressed with her. I've never played with her before, so seeing that stun in action is actually kind of eye-opening. I do think she would make an excellent warrior up front with instead of like a Palmera. You could run a Tuskrog and her side by side, and then she would provide a stun as well as Tuskrog, so you would just keep the enemy consistently not attacking you. So that would be a big win. Or before you get a Tuskrog, I think she's a great alternative because of that stun. That AoE ability is very effective, as you saw right there. She almost wiped the room clean. All of her damage is magic damage, and it is dealt through attack. So I would ideally build her with attack boots if you could afford the survivability. So let's take a peek and see how we've got her built. Right in here. And I don't know, yeah, we have HP boots. So if we actually were to put attack boots on her, that would help out with those ticks of of burning, because it's going to be 40% of her attack, and you could get quite a bit more attack on her. It's also going to help out with your attack as magic damage while placing those burns, and it's also going to obviously affect her dragon fire or incinerate as well, because it's just going to increase her attack and make her hit even harder. I would like to compare her AoE ability at 170% attack compared to Palmera's, because I think that she could be a great alternative to Palmera on the free-to-play account, because not only is she doing the 170% damage, she's also getting that 2-second stun. So she could be a little bit better in that play, in getting those extra crowd control elements on her kit instead of Palmera. So that might be something worth trying on the free-to-play account now that I've seen her in action. She is Ascender, Intelligence, Redeemer, and Mage. So she's technically a mage, although I think she's going to be very similar to a warrior with magic damage is essentially how those mages kind of play out. But they do have a lot of versatility in their kit. So all in all, I'd say I'm very impressed with her. She definitely could do some work for you early to mid game. But running her alongside a Tuskrog, getting a 2-second stun there, as well as on Tuskrog, his ability also provides a 2-second stun. If you had them switching and alternating between their abilities, the enemy's hardly ever going to be able to move. So that could be a really good combination to run. And she could actually be a back row damage dealer, taking the place of an Inara, or you can keep her up front. Potentially even run her alongside Palmera. So you'd have Tuskrog, Palmera up front, and then you'd have Tallah in the back. And that could be a lot of AoE damage coming out of that team. So that does seem pretty effective. So I think that's about what I got for you for Tallah. I'm actually pretty impressed with her as a champion, having not played with her before. I think there was a lot of eye-opening elements to her kit. That being said, I think she can definitely work for you in the early game as well as mid game, and I think running alongside a Tuskrog is going to be a great combination to get those stuns alternating back and forth. I do plan on doing a highlight video for each champion in the game, so I will keep them coming out. Even champions that you may feel don't have a lot of merit, at least that way if you pull them, you can kind of look at something and see, hey, this is how this person works, and this is how you could make them effective. She obviously is going to need a healer with her, an Aquirus or a Flix, to help keep her alive, because there's no healing in her kit directly, which is fine, because it seems like she's doing quite a bit of damage. She should match Palmera damage. It looks like, you know, strike for strike. So that is pretty impressive. But hope you found it enjoyable. I appreciate you taking the time with me today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.